Hey fellas, what's up? I wanted to come on for a few minutes and chat a little bit about a case haven't I've just been so swamped busy, guys, that I haven't had time to really do much at all. I didn't do any videos on Saturday at all, I don't think. Maybe one update on the planes. I think that was all I was able to do. I had some people in town and we were going, and I was learning some stuff about underwater drones and a few things like that. So I was doing my homework, right? But I do want to come on and chat a little bit and touch base on a few things. Hold on, let me add some logs real quick. And so that way we can get a little more information out there and see if it helps at all in this case, which I just really want to take. I'm not really going to dig too much on it because we're almost done with a few things, packets put together, and then we're gonna be able to discuss the first package we sent out maybe by Friday. That's the plan, and maybe I'll get frustrated. I don't know. I just have to be careful, and I think most of y'all understand that. Some of y'all might not, but it's okay. We deal with it the best way we can. But remember, allegedly, these are my opinions. All my big alleged bubble, right? My speculation, my theory, my free speech. It's don't take it as fact, take it as a grain of salt. That's all I'm going to say. I'm trying to get used to that, and trigger warning times 100 million. But I do want to get back into this a little bit, and I want to kind of start from the get go and go over tonight. And what we're gonna do is the way that, to me, it's going to be easier for me to break down the things that we've discovered is to start over. You know how we did those part 15 or 16, 17 of them, right? But what I want to do this time is start over again. Like, spend a night just to break down the whole entire case one more time. And then each night, put a little more out and a little more out, right? Because some of this, I need to do it in sequence. And it's easier. I'm not going to sit here and talk for 5 hours just to get out, 20 things that, that are new. So what I'll do is just break it down and start with, okay, Jay Slater, 19-year-old, went on holiday with two friends, Brad and Lucy, to the island of Tenerife to an NRG rave, which is like a music festival. Back in June, he went on the 13th. I guess he was staying a week, from what I'm hearing and understanding. Maybe he was going to be there for like a week, I guess, because it was over on Sunday. I don't know if they were going to fly back Monday. Some people said Wednesday. So really, it wasn't his last night. It was just the last night of the rave. So we need to kind of straighten that part of it out. So evidently, they were going to be there a few more days, from what I understand. I don't know if that's 100% correct or not, but remember, this is allegedly just my theories. But, he was a bricklayer, hard worker. Yes, he might not have had the perfect life in the past, right? As far as stayed out of trouble. He had gotten in a little bit of trouble. He did, and nobody's perfect. And I don't know what he was around every day or how he grew up, but seemed to have a really good family with a pretty strong backbone. So a mother that really, really cares. And so he wasn't lacking love in any way, I don't feel, right? He had a dog, and he liked to walk his dog. He liked to Snapchat with his mom. He had a run-in with some people that were older than him when he was 12. He hid under a car, but they did kind of beat him up a little bit, trigger warning. He had some lumps and some bruises and a knot on his head and maybe a busted lip or so. And that all started when he was 12, and then we don't know much more because not a lot came out about the other age groups. But then in 2021, he was involved. His mother says he wasn't involved. A lot of people say he was involved. The courts pretty much show that he was involved. But you got to remember, his mother made him go give a statement. So evidently they had never even eyeballed or looked at him anyway. But then within him doing that, maybe it was that other people had placed him there or placed him with an object in his hand. But there was a young man by the name of Tom Hilton that was hitting on a younger girl, and I guess they were defending the younger girl. And Tom Hilton got chased by what he calls a pack of gorillas, pack of wolves, like 8. I've heard 20. I think Jay's mom said there was hundreds of people there, more like 20 that were attacking this kid, which is not nice, and it's not cool, and it's not something anybody should do, period. Nobody deserves to be attacked with what he was attacked with, golf clubs and bats and a big, like, Friday the 13th, you know, like, it wasn't good. He had a big hole in his head, and it took him a while to recover. Pretty much, if this young girl wouldn't have jumped on him, I think they probably would have unalived him, right? It was that bad. So that happened. They all went to court for it. I did read some things about the judge saying they were laughing and joking about it, which is not cool if they were doing that. But evidently, Jay Slater received the least amount of punishment as all of them than the other ones. So I don't know if there was resentment or whatever for that, but I do know that he wasn't done with his. I thought he was done because, you know, like over here, if you're on probation, you can't even travel outside your county. So I don't know how he was able to even go to the island of Tenerife if he was still doing his sentencing, like his probation part of it, which didn't make sense to me. And maybe the UK laws are different, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, he was a bricklayer. He was 19 years old, and he was from the UK. Over by Lancaster. It was Lancashire, I believe it was, Lancashire. And so by Osweiler, I think, something like that. And anyway, he's from there, went to the island of Tenerife on June 13th. They flew out. And I guess maybe the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, that's 4 days, 4 nights. They were partying every night, right, at the rave. But the rave was only, I think, 3 nights. But anyway, the last night of it, he's seen in there dancing, no shirt on, having a good time. Looks like he was pretty intoxicated. But by the time he left, he didn't look that bad to me because he was looking out when he was leaving. He was looking around. He was aware of his surroundings. But this is where it gets a little sideways to me because I really want to touch base on this part of it all because, you know, there's two reliable sources out there that show that he was seen on last time on camera around that in that rave area, like at one was like 1:10 a.m. and one was 1:36 a.m. But supposedly he didn't leave that area until like 3:50 in the morning, between 3 and 5:50 in the morning to go up with those guys, right? But one thing that gets confusing is supposedly somebody said he lost his keys, he had nowhere to go. Well, he did have somewhere to go because when Lucy and Brad supposedly left, well, Lucy left alone, she says, although in another article it says that she asked Jay to come back with her and Brad. So it gets a little sideways here. So just say Brad and Lucy left at the same time and were trying to get Jay to come with them. Jay didn't want to go. But if Jay had lost his key and texted Arab Kasim, which was with Rockies, saying, hey, I don't have nowhere to go, I lost my key to my room, that makes no sense because they just asked him to come back with them. So that makes zero sense. Plus, Brad would have been in the room, right? Why did he need a key? Knock on the door. You're sharing a room. You don't need a key. Knock on the damn door. Brad's in there. Your best mate of half your life is in there. But still, all in all, your best mate let you go and then help. I don't know. Supposedly it was Brad's key, that card that was Jay had lost. I don't know. Supposedly somebody took his bag within the club, then he had his bag with him. All I know is if that was him, seen on CCTV footage at 6 p.m. that Monday, the 17th, whoever ran across that street did have a black bag. You can clearly see it behind him. You can see the shoulder strap. I know it's fuzzy and grainy, but you can still make out the bag is there. So I don't know if he lost it, didn't lose it. I don't know if that was him, wasn't him. I know his mother thought it was him. His mother released a clip because she felt that it was Jay. She knows her son better than anybody. So we kind of had to go with that. You know, was that really him? Was it not? I've always thought it was. Some people don't think it is. So there's no 100% proof that it was him, right? Not yet that I can discuss, but there's no proof to say, according to them, there's no proof that that was him. Because according to them, he was at the bottom of a ravine already by 6 p.m. unalive, which was an 50-minute drive from where he was in the party area. So he left the party area to go to a hiking zone, which has nothing but a few people up there and a couple of rentals and a cafe. So I never really felt like he would have left to go that way anyway. Not when you're staying at the most popular party area there is. And in the next two little counties, little towns over, like, 3 miles this way, was still a lot of party area too. So why would he leave all that to go up there for nothing? That don't make sense. But that's supposedly what happened. Supposedly, he lost his key, guys. Supposedly, he didn't have nowhere to go, guys. Although he had a room that he was paying for with Brad. Brad was supposed to be there, so he did have a place to go, but supposedly they say he didn't have a place to go. I would like to see those text messages, which I think are bullshit. Excuse my language. Sorry about that, but trigger warning times 100 million. But supposedly that's what happened. Supposedly they leave from that area, outside the rave area, around, just say 3 a.m. I know that's not right, but let's just say 3 a.m. They leave. He goes with two men he doesn't really know, but then we find out later that he does know because he had the guy's cell phone number because he was texting him that he lost his key. So let's keep that in mind. He did have these people's phone numbers. He had met them on this trip. I still believe that he had known them way before this trip because we know Lucy May Law has known Eric for at least 22 months. And that's just as far back as we can track it. So we know now she has been friends with him and Rocky, MJ I call, or DJ, whatever you want to call him. I got a couple names for him. But anyway, we know that she knew all of them. Although she said she didn't in the GoFundMe. She said Jay didn't know them. They were strangers. They were two men. They need to be arrested. They need to be questioned here. She threw them under the bus right out of the bat. Call the British police, right? She knew they weren't going to do that. She knew that the island of Tenerife was not going to allow them to come over there. She just blowing hot air. Lied in the GoFundMe. Lied about what Jay was wearing. Lied about what time she left the rave. Lied about leaving alone. Lied about everything. She just flat out lied about everything. And started the GoFundMe 3 days after Jay went missing. Target goal was $30,000. A lot of people raised eyebrows. That's a lot of money for just, usually it's like 5 or 10,000, right? But she targeted 30,000 and it raised 76,000. So it raised a lot more than what her target was. But what was the purpose? We know there was one withdrawal for $36,088, I believe it was. And I have them all. I've showed them before on a video. I have where all the GoFundMe money supposedly went. I do have that. We're trying to work on tracking some of that to see, but once you close that GoFundMe, it's really hard unless they open it back up due to false statements or things like that. You can get things to be relooked at. So that's what we have sent in and worked on. We don't know what's going to come about it yet, but hopefully we get some answers. Anyway, he left with them, supposedly stopped at this other place, had another drink at like 5 in the morning, got to the Airbnb. Never really said what time they arrived, supposedly 6:30. There was a lot of activity seen in the parking lot. Supposedly Jay and Arab Kasim were laughing at Rocky sleeping in the car. Which, if he doesn't drink, why was he passed out in the car? Like, none of it made sense. They both had bands on. There was a lot of mixture of BS in this whole thing, guys. But just to give you the basic rundown for people that are new or people that are just now starting to watch the Jay Slater. That's why I wanted to do this, because I do have a lot more viewers watching it now that mainly watch Sebastian and all these other ones that are now starting to get into this case and want to understand it. So that's why I'm breaking it down tonight like this. So a lot of y'all might not want to watch it because I am just basically breaking it down again. But the whole thing is we know that next morning, or supposedly at 7:30 a.m., well, 7:29 a.m. and 38 seconds, one snap was taken of the mountains. And then at 7:30 a.m. on, like, I don't remember the seconds exactly, but he took a snap of him holding a cigarette and a lighter with a blanket on. That the blanket was from like where he was staying, not from up there, which was confusing to a lot of people and it didn't make sense to me. Some people say it looked like 2 pairs of shoes in there, like somebody was holding Jay up. I don't believe that. I don't believe that was Jay's shoes under that blanket, but it is possible. We know now that he didn't snap his face. He just snapped the mountainside and a cigarette, which doesn't make sense because all his other snaps were him looking at the camera making faces or being funny or silly, right? So we know that the whole time he was there, every snap or every photo that he snapped of like scenery was with him in it. Like his face, like one of the ones I use a lot is him. And you can see the reflection in the glasses of the mountains and stuff of his sunglasses. So anyway, supposedly that morning, these guys fell asleep. Supposedly he's texting Brad and calling Brad right when they got there because those guys had fallen asleep and Jay wanted to come back. And this was, I think, around 5:20 or 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, something like that. I think Brad said that he was communicating with Jay and wanting to come back. And supposedly this Arab, Kasim, and Rocky went to his room. Arab went to his room, but he left a towel, a cigarette, and a phone charger. But then later said, no, I told him to go get the phone charger from Rocky's room. He was asleep, which none of it made sense. It's all lies. But supposedly this is what happened. Then in another statement, he said he made a bed for Jay and everything and had it ready for him to sleep. And that a few minutes after 8, the buzzer rang with 3 people outside the door, 2 guys and a girl or something, saying they needed to move the car. It was parked in the wrong spot. But we know now that the car was parked on the other side of the rails. We've seen the footage. We've seen the Google Earth photos. The car was not blocking anything. So that's another one that's got me. Then supposedly Ophelia, the lady that her brother owns these rentals that she's friends with Arab, Kasim, and Rocky, said that she saw Jay out by the bus stop, tried to explain to him he missed the bus. The next bus comes at 10 or 10 minutes. It was a big misunderstanding about 10 minutes or 10 o'clock. So Jay decides, okay, I'm going to take off walking, but I'm just going to walk in the opposite direction. Even though I have my phone with Google Maps, I'm going to walk in the total opposite direction. I'm going to go north because I just want to go north. I don't know what for. I just want to go north. And some people say go into the water. BS. You're not going to walk 6.23 kilometers to the damn water. Nobody's going to do it. It takes 3 hours. He's been partying all night. There's no damn good way in hell he's going to walk to the water. Sorry, I don't see that. I don't buy that. That's what they said, though. And then supposedly around 8:30 or 8 o'clock or 8:15 or 8:50, Lucy said all these different times, Jay rang her phone. She was woke up to Jay calling her, saying that he was lost, he was dehydrated, he had 1% battery on his phone, and he was cut himself on a cactus, and he was laying in a ditch. Okay? So then she starts, I guess, whatever she did, right? Which to me, she would have just said, hey, go to the bus stop, wait, we're coming to get you, right? That's what would have happened. Well, then he talks to Brad on video call with 1%, mind you. Talked to Lucy first, plus he's using Google Maps, plus he's talking to Brad on FaceChat. And Brad can see him sliding down some gravel, which is BS. But anyway, his phone last pinged right at the bridge, so I don't think he was off of a major trail whenever the location was shared. First, it was 15-minute walk, 15-minute drive, 14-hour walk. Then it was 11-hour walk and 50-minute. I don't drive, and the times never really got right. It was kind of bounced around, and some people may have said they misunderstood or missaid it, but it don't matter. Nothing matched. Nothing added up, right? And then Arab supposedly gets a call from a friend, which we know now is Lucy May Law, and not Lucy May Law, Brandon, and Brandon says, hey, Jay's in a ditch. He cut his leg on a cactus, but yet Arab's right there by where Jay is. Jay's was like less than 2 miles, right, from where he is. He's only been walking 30 minutes. He's less than 2 miles, and yet Arab doesn't go look for him. And then Brad knows, shares his location with him, knows exactly where Jay is, doesn't tell him, wait, I'm going to come get you. You're my best mate for half your life. I'm going to come pick you up. Just wait right there. Don't move. Just keep keep an eye on your leg. Make sure it doesn't swell. We'll be right there. I'm coming to get you, brother. I'm coming to get you, right? That didn't happen. None of it made sense. You're not going to leave your best friend there. Lucy wouldn't have left Jay there. Like, Jay was never there. That's why they didn't. That's why they lied, right? And in my opinion, because supposedly it starts a massive search, right? Lucy calls. She talks to Jay around 8:50. So let's just say she talked to him for a couple minutes, and somehow he talks to Brad in that same 8:50 to 9, and then hangs up with Brad. And then as soon as he hangs up with Brad, Lucy calls and reports him missing. 9:03 a.m. You just spoke to him. Why are you saying he's missing? If you really just talked to him, why are you saying he's missing? Because for one, at 1%, he'd have never called you. 1%, he'd have never called Brad on FaceTime. 1%, his phone wouldn't have worked. That's an iPhone. 3%, 4%, it'll start cutting off on its own on purpose. So don't say the 1%. That's a lie. Everything that this woman said, young girl said, is a lie. Bald-faced lie to me, in my opinion. Everything that Brad said is a lie. That poor kid couldn't even swallow. He was doing that interview like he had 20 cotton balls in his throat. Because he was lying, in my opinion. I think the news lady knew he was lying too. Their stories changed a lot. Kind of like Katie's in the Sebastian case. Stories changed a lot. So it launches a huge big search, right? And then after 2 weeks, they quit searching with dogs and helicopters and drones and search crews and mountain Dutch search and rescue. All firemen, all these people are searching. They're combing this entire area where the phone last pinged. Within 3.5 mile circle, swept it completely, like damn near just checked every blade of dirt, right, in 2 weeks. They don't find him. We're switching to the investigation side. Everybody's saying that one of the dog handlers said if he was here, we'd have found him. The spokesperson for the Spanish police in Tenerife, if we'd have been here, we'd have found him. We're going to go to the investigation side. We've had all these tips coming in. Maybe he's on another part of the island. That's what they thought, because they had swept that area so damn good, and they said he wasn't there. But then magically, right after they quit, another gentleman that's going to join the search for Jay Slater, right, an ex-military man, finds a pair of sunglasses in the same spot that a freaking 100 people just stepped by on a freaking search with dogs and everything, and they didn't find the sunglasses, but this man finds sunglasses, and they're broken and missing a lens, and they look like Jay's, but they're not Jay's. Then this guy says, hey, his phone looks like somebody chunked it in here. How do you know they chunked his phone in there? Did you find the phone and not report it? What's going on here? Supposedly, they chunked his phone in this thick cacti. Nobody could have walked in there. He's saying something bad happened, foul play in the beginning, this military man. And then after he talks to a few of those guys that where he left with and went with, then he changed his whole tune. Oh no, he was walking to the water. Bullshit. Anyway, walking to the water. He didn't realize how far it was. He's going to walk up on the highest ravine here to the highest tip top on his tiptoes and fall to his death. Come on, give me a break, right? I mean, give me a break. It's just none of it makes sense, guys, and that's why I wanted to go over this from the beginning, and just to show that none of it makes sense. But then on July 15th, early in the morning hours, which the night before there was a lot of dog barking, goats barking, a lot of noise, a lot of chaos, a lot of commotion down there in that area because a YouTuber was staying there, or TikToker. And the next morning, Jay's found. After all that noise on the wee morning hours, Jay's found. By the same guy that found the sunglasses. Make that shit make sense. Then, within that day, oh, it's Jay, identified by fingerprints, plus his clothes were laying next to him folded, right? His clothes were seen next to him within 3 or 4 feet. So I guess he fell down this ravine, took his clothes off, folded them before he hit the bottom, and then hit the bottom with no clothes on. Come on. But his clothes and belongings were found away from him, not on him. Remember that. Not on his body, away from his body. Cell phone was supposedly found away from his body. I guess that dude pulled it out of the cactus and then gave it to somebody and they put it there. I don't know what happened. I'm just speculating. You know, maybe he did find it in the cactus, and that's why he said somebody threw his phone here. Maybe that's why he did it. Maybe it slipped. He didn't mean to say it. I don't know. There's a lot of wishy-washy in this damn thing. So anyway, remind you, we got some drone footage. We've been doing some Google Earth. We requested photos back in August. We finally got a lot of this stuff. We're going over a lot of this stuff. We're trying to build a case, trying to get it sent in to be reinvestigated, which, from what I'm understanding, there is somebody already reinvestigating the case over there that has done the cell phone data, cloned the SIMS card, done some things like this. They're trying to find out what the last message were that was sent. What are the last phone calls? Do they all add up to what they're saying? They just want to know, is every phone call the right timeline according to Brad, Lucy, and Arab, right? Are all those phone calls happen exact time, right? And were they video chats? Were they, was he texting him saying, I cut my leg on a cactus? Did he text him and say, I lost my keys? Like, they're going to know all that. So that's why I think they're doing right now. From what I'm understanding, that's what they're doing. So if none of these things add up in that phone, And that's why I always say digital evidence is a bitch. It'll get you. It's worse than karma. And they'll know if it's real or not. They will know. So that's where we're at right now. We got a bunch of good stuff. We got a bunch of phone numbers. We got a bunch. We're finally making sense of some of the phone numbers. We're finally weaving out the search teams and all them. We know now who they were, where they were. We've been able to do that. We had the dog tracking collar coordinates. We had all the GPS coordinates, all the Google Earth. So we've put together our own little case. We're kind of keeping it on the low now because of all the speculation and the drama that's going on in this case. A lot of drama. We're just going to keep things a little under the radar right now. Why give away a bunch of information? Don't tip anybody off. Let's just, we'll let it out little by little. So if you want to watch, watch. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. If you care about justice for Jay Slater and you feel that something was wrong here, there was foul play involved and they covered it up, or if you feel that there was foul play and somehow the law enforcement didn't know that there was foul play, maybe the law enforcement had no idea that what happened. Maybe they just are going by what they told them. We don't know yet. So we'll keep our digging. We're going to keep a fight. We're going to keep this thing alive until we get the answers. If it turns out to be that he magically tiptoed up there like Tinkerbell and fell off that ravine, and that's what happened, and that's what happened. I don't feel it. Y'all don't feel it. So that's why we got to try to find out. Just like in the Nicola Bully case. I did a video last night about Nicola Bully. I don't feel that case went down the way they said it was. The Claudia girl from Yorkshire that was walking to work, that worked at that campus restaurant, vanished. I believe that guy that was seen on that CCTV footage, or those 4 dudes that were once arrested, they know what happened to that girl. And I'm going to cover that case. I'm just waiting on a few pieces of information before I do cover the case. So there's a lot of good cases coming up. I've checked into the Matthew Jackson. I've checked into a few of these. That Matthew Jackson is similar to Jay Slater. He jumped the wall and vanished with his girlfriend there too. That is really freaky. But the island of Tenerife is a magic missing island. Everybody goes missing on that dang island, it seems like. And half of them aren't even found. At least Jay Slater was found. But I think he was found because the pressure got so great that they had to put him there and just to let it die down. That's what I think. But anyway, guys, y'all have a good night. That's all we're going to discuss tonight. But tomorrow we'll get into a little bit more. I just wanted to give the new people that are starting to watch this a breakdown of what's going on. And we'll keep going, guys, and we'll release a little bit of what we got and a few more names and a few more of that pretty quick. So y'all guys be patient. We love y'all guys. Remember, trigger warning, justice for Jay Slater, justice for all the voiceless. All the voiceless need a voice, and that's what we got to do. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to find the truth, whether the truth be what they're saying or whether the truth be something totally opposite and what we think it is. Y'all have a good night. Remember, justice for Jay Slater, justice for all. We'll talk to y'all on the next one. Remember, allegedly, my big bubble. Y'all have a good night, guys. We'll talk soon, all right? Y'all be good. Be safe. We love y'all, guys. Keep your prayers up, all right? Don't stop praying now. Keep up the fight. All right, guys. Talk soon. Bye.